UFP, the United Federation of Podcasts.
Welcome to Franchise Fatigue, the little podcast on the United Federation of Podcast Network, where your hosts, Zach and Brandon, discuss for you all the films, all the remakes, all the sequels in a franchise. We look at them episode by episode, movie by movie, and then we discuss them for you here on our show, Franchise Fatigue. I am your host, Brandon-Shea, and joining me, as always, is Zach Moore. Zach, you're looking like really beat up, like you got scars and stuff all over your face, and you know you're like really fast, and now you're like sleeping.
I can see you're very upset.
Yes, I am.
That line was not in the movie, was it? I was waiting for that line. It's in all the trailers, but it's not in the movie.
There's lots of stuff that was in that trailer, like when Sarah Connor sees him, she was standing in the front of the door in the trailer, and in the movie she was standing beside the door when he opens it up. They changed the trailers.
They changed the future,
okay.
Brandon.
They changed the future, yes. We're talking Terminator Dark Fate, the newest movie in the Terminator franchise reboot series. And I saw it twice on Friday night, back to back, and I'm ready to discuss it right now. I got some interesting things that I want to talk to you about, Zach. So I'm looking forward to our discussion. When did you watch it?
I watched it Sunday afternoon.
Sunday afternoon. Matinee.
Yes. So I have to ask, Brandon, why did you watch it twice in a row at the movie theater?
Because I have kids, and I get one night off a week to do podcasting, so we record on Monday nights. And so I wanted to go see it on like as close to opening night as I could, but I couldn't go on the 31st for the pre-screening because it was Halloween. I got kids, and I want to take them out trick-or-treating. And then I can't stay up I couldn't go to the 10 o'clock show because then I work. I get up for work at 5 in the morning. So I couldn't stay out to the late show on a work night. So I was going to go at 10 o'clock on Friday, and then my wife and I decided to go for a date night. She wanted to see it, but then with babysitters and the kids, we couldn't go to 10 o'clock, so we decided to go to the early show, and I'm like, I'll just see it twice.
All right, there you go.
So I went to the early show with my wife, and I went to the late show with my buddies, and it was good.
All right. Well, I saw it Sunday afternoon with my friend Lance Laster, who you guys heard on our Terminator Salvation episode. Mm-hmm. And as usual, him and I are in pretty much alignment on our thoughts on the film, if anyone was wondering. But we'll put a pin in that and our thoughts, and we'll get into the trivia. Now, this is a new film, just came out. They were very secretive about a lot of it. So to be honest, there's not that much trivia. So that just gives us more time to talk about the movie itself, Brandon, because I know we'll have a lot to talk about with this film, I feel. So, Terminator Dark Fate. James Cameron has returned in an official capacity for the first time to the Terminator franchise since Terminator 2 Judgment Day in 1991. He is a co-writer and producer of this film. He considers it a direct sequel to his two films, The Terminator and Terminator 2. It ignores Terminator 3, Terminator Salvation, Terminator Genesis, and Terminator The Sarah Connor Chronicles, for those of you keeping score at home. So,
it's a lot of Terminator crap out there, isn't there?
Yeah, there really is. There really is. So, Tim Miller, who directed Deadpool, that's what kind of brought him into public notoriety. He takes over the director's reins for James Cameron for this official Terminator 3, this is now, if you look at it, right, we had Terminator 3, that was a Terminator 3. We had Terminator Genesis, that was a Terminator 3. We have Terminator Dark Fate, that is a Terminator 3. And, from a certain point of view, the Sarah Connor Chronicles is a Terminator 3. So this is really our fourth Terminator 3. But Tim Miller takes the reins here. Tim Miller was the second unit director on Thor: The Dark World, a.k.a. the worst Marvel Cinematic Universe movie. which was directed by our friend Alan Taylor, who directed Terminator Genesis. So, hashtag it's all connected. Arnold Schwarzenegger does return for this film. This is the first time that he hasn't gotten top billing, though. Linda Hamilton got top billing, and it's interesting. Even in the even in the end credits, their names are on the screen at the same time, and hers is just a little higher than his. So I'm sure that their agents had a lot of fun hashing out that deal. But Linda Hamilton returns for the first time in live action since Terminator 2 Judgment Day. But remember, she did do those audio cassette voiceovers in an uncredited cameo in Terminator Salvation. So now she had turned down Terminator 3. Didn't like the story there, but apparently she liked her story here, so she came back for Dark Fate. Now, the two of them, right? It's great to see him back. Arnold, do you know how old Arnold is, Brandon?
He's got to be 72.
He is 71 at the time this was filmed.
71.
He might be 72 by now. He looks great for 71, though. I mean,
that guy at 71 looks better than I do at 37.
There you go. There it is. Now, and by the way, spoilers, right? I mean, that we need to put out a spoiler warning here.
Do we?
That we're
They
discussing
should know.
spoilers. Just so everybody knows, and we can't get accused of giving them no warning. Spoiler warning starting now.
Darth Vader's Luke's father.
That is correct. And Planet of the Apes is Earth. Now, Brett Azar, who is a bodybuilder, who was the body double for young Arnold Schwarzenegger in Terminator Genesis for the opening scenes in 1984. He returns in this film to play the young Arnold for the T-800 in the opening scene, who kills John Connor. So, again, continuity from the previous film from a certain point of view. Now, speaking of John Connor, Jude Colley, child actor, played the body of young John Connor, and they put Edward Furlong's face on this kid's body. Okay?
Did they get Edward Furlong though, or did they just use stuff from T2?
Well, I'm not sure what kind of scans they used. I mean, he's in there, right? So
yes, it looks like him from T2. Like this is like while we're talking about this, him and young Sarah Connor here. Like I've seen Terminator 2. I don't know how many times. And it didn't look to me like they cheated by using like angles from Terminator 2 that they could just like crop out the face and move it over so that the angle was the same. These looked like they were from Terminator 2. Like this was some of the best head replacement, de-aging, whatever the heck I've ever seen in my life.
I agree with you.
Arnold looked not quite right, but it looked better than it had before. Like I think there was something weird with the shape of his face, but it still looked really, really good.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think this is the best de-aging I've ever seen, which is a shame that it's in such a horribly conceived situation that we see this in my opinion. But you're right, Brandon. It's amazing how much they captured the T2 look of Sarah Connor and John Connor. Although Terminator 2 takes place in 1995, and this scene, the opening scene of this film, takes place in 1998. So apparently John Connor did not grow at all in those 3 years, because he's pretty much the same 13, but he's really 10-year-old kid from Terminator 2. But anyway.
How is Chekhov younger in the Kelvin timeline?
Because of the Narada.
Yeah, no, it doesn't matter. Who cares?
You know that's a problem. Okay, so anyway. Amazing special effects work here in the opening scene where we see the T-800 kill John Connor. So there you have it. The new John Connor, Danny Ramos, Natalia Reyes was cast as her, and she is a Colombian of Colombian descent who is 31 years old. When originally they were looking for someone of Mexican descent who was 18, so they kind of changed. Once you start a casting call, you don't know what's going to happen, right? But I did find it interesting that she is 31, because I thought she was playing like a 15-year-old, because she didn't know how to drive, things like that. So like 30. She's very small as well. I don't know what her exact height is, But that plays into it as well.
I mean, it's not the first time. Sometimes you want a Mexican, and then you end up with Charlton Heston, right?
There you go. Exactly. What is that?
What? You don't know that? That's oh my goodness. Now, what's the movie? There's a movie with Orson Welles, and they had to cast Charlton Heston as a Mexican.
Really?
Yeah. So they darken his skin and give him a mustache, and then in the movie, Orson Welles' character turns to him and is like, "You don't look Mexican." He's like, oh my goodness, what is it? I can't remember the name. It's Touch of Evil. Have you never seen Touch of Evil?
No, I have not.
Oh man, you got to see Touch of Evil. It's a masterpiece. It is absolutely a masterpiece in cinema. But yeah, Charlton Heston is a Mexican, which is a little bit problematic.
All right, well, I will put that on my to-watch list once I'm done with all these franchises we're watching here, Brandon. Speaking of continuity with the previous films, the song "Guitars Cadillacs" by Dwight Yoakam can be heard when the Rev 9 crashes his helicopter into someone's backyard shed when they're having a barbecue. That's the same song that can be heard in Terminator 2 when Arnold enters the bar naked when he first arrives in the present day. So, nice little Easter egg of music there. Now, speaking of the Rev 9, its name, its designation, is a reference to Revelation chapter 9, because the new Skynet, Legion, is also a reference to the book of Revelation. So they've gone biblical with these names now. There's really no specific, correlation between Rev 7s and Rev 9s. Now, in my research, I found that the Terminators they were fighting in the future flash-forward sequence, those were Rev 7s.
Those octopus-looking ones, where the arms look like octopus arms?
Yes, that is correct. And the Terminator in this film is a Rev 9.
Okay.
So there you go there. A couple last bits of trivia. The scene where Carl is about to put on his sunglasses when he gets leathered up at the end. They actually shot two versions of that, one where he puts on the sunglasses and one where he does not. They eventually chose for him not to do it, one to show that he had moved past that part of the character, but also the fact that during the end of the movie he doesn't have any sunglasses on, so it would be kind of a weird continuity thing for him to put on the glasses and then him not to have them. Now, if you call the number that is on the van of Carl's Draperies, "We won't leave you hanging," hilarious tagline, I must say. There is so you can do this right now. I don't have the number on me. Sorry, I guess this is bad trivia because I don't have all of it. But go find out what that number is on the van of Carl's Draperies. And if you dial it, there is a voicemail that picks up, and it's Arnold Schwarzenegger as Carl doing "Hey, we're Carl. Don't worry, we won't leave you hanging."
Oh my goodness!
And at the end, he says "Hasta la vista." It's so funny.
I couldn't do that.
That's a really great meta thing, I think, that they did.
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah. And then, the final bit of trivia that I'll share here, I mentioned the Sarah Connor Chronicles a few times during my trivia here. Now, there is a list, just a wall of writers who contributed to this film. Josh Friedman was one of them, and he was the creator of Terminator, the Sarah Connor Chronicles, the television show from a few years ago. Some other names that helped writing the film: David S. Goyer from the Dark Knight trilogy, his writing partner Justin Rhodes, Billy Ray.
Billy Ray Cyrus?
Not Billy Ray Cyrus, but Tim Miller, James Cameron, Charles Egley. And that is your roster of writers for this film. So there you have it.
Potpourri of writers.
Terminator Dark Fate. Now, sometimes people say if you see a TV episode, there's a wall of writers that they call it written by, story by, adapted by, screenplay. That's a red flag for you're in trouble, right? But I will say my favorite episode of Star Trek The Next Generation, Yesterday's Enterprise, has a similar wall of text when it comes to who wrote it. So that's not necessarily a death sentence. But perhaps for this movie, it was. So, Brandon, let's discuss Terminator Dark Fate. Going into it, what were your expectations? Were they met? And just overall, is this now your favorite Terminator 3? Because it's what James Cameron wants you to think of as the new Terminator 3.
Okay, well, I'll jump in back order. No, it's not my favorite Terminator 3. No. I did like it. I was expecting more. and I was let down. But I didn't hate it. I did have some problems with it, and most of the problems that